All right, here we go. We're live. We are right on time.
No way.
Right on time.
It is.
We had James. We had like a true professional on. So we have true professional James Quantz Jr. with us. So we had to be prompt and on time, look professional. So we got our stuff together. I was going to shave, but I was like, why am I going to shave? Justin has it's the beard.
I haven't for years. It's been 9.5 years I haven't shaved.
Really?
Yeah.
That's something.
It's magical.
Does it wake up the same time in the morning as you do, or does it take a little while?
It takes a while to wake up now. It's definitely slower in the process these days.
I think if I didn't shave for 9 years, I would look about the same, just like this.
Yeah, absolutely, you would. It doesn't make you a man, though.
I would look like Santa Claus.
I said when it does turn gray, I don't know if I can keep it. I think I have to get rid of it.
Yeah. Or you start dyeing it.
I'm not doing that. People think I do already because I have gray hair, but no shot. Not dyeing it.
Why are you not dyeing it?
Have you seen what happens to people that dye their hair?
No.
When they sweat a lot.
Well, not on the beard part. That would just be dripping down. People won't even. That'd be out of frame right here.
Yeah, true.
It would look like an oil leak.
It's not like coming down your temple and side of your face. Like it's underneath your hat. I mean, this would be. Yeah, you just leave a puddle underneath you.
Well, I mean, I gotta start.
Look,
I'm leaving that alone. That's so much I want to say to that.
Yeah,
this isn't the show for that. This didn't start off well. Can we get back on track? We're live. This is off the rails. This isn't going well.
All right. So are we starting with? I think since we're right at the beginning, that's when everybody's super. They're really paying attention. I think we need to show some of James' new stuff that we're all really excited about.
We don't have to do that.
Yeah, should we introduce him? Does it there's anybody that doesn't know him, right? Like,
I've been on here before.
I know.
My name is up there.
We just had our crews coming in from the lacrosse shoot, so just
that's real life.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Hey, you good?
Oh, I did see John Scott. I didn't see John Scott. I talked to John Scott. Speaking of people that are affiliated with the crew here, and unloaded with their used gear group, the used photo. Was it to go? I think. And
right, yeah.
And they were great. Met with Edward from the used photo to go and unloaded. I think it was 11 pro photos and some Canon cinema cameras, some C70 and the R5C, and then the GFX 100, the first one.
That'll buy you some new gear. Unloading that good stuff.
So I've got some Sony lenses on the way, and from John Scott, and we'll go from there.
This is a used photo pro.
Yeah.
I will say it's so nice to just make a list of what you want to send them, and then they send you a quote, and you package it up and ship it to them and be done with it. It's so good. It's such a good system.
And Edward, who works there, he's based in Atlanta, so I drove over to Augusta and we met, and he had quoted me. Like you said, just with like the list, but then he, looked over the gear and actually bumped it up a little bit. They give you a conservative quote, and then if it's better than, I think he said they rate them on their quotes as like good, and if it's excellent quality, then they'll bump it up and raise the quote.
Mine have never been bumped up. It's always worse than I think. Always.
Well, I saved the boxes and the packaging and all that kind of stuff. So I had all
I do too, but they're rough by the time I'm giving them back.
That is funny. They have KEH in Atlanta. So but I've never really used them. But
I used them before when I switched from DSLR to mirrorless. I used KEH and unloaded all my Nikon gear when I was switching over to Canon.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I would suggest either one of those routes for those people that are still out there holding on to their DSLRs and want to possibly switch to mirrorless. You can piecemeal it, I guess, on eBay or something like that. But it's especially going through with John Scott's group there, because then it goes right into Roberts, and then he can, you you kind of build up a little bit there, and then you can take out. It's almost having like a little slush fund over there at Roberts, where you instantly can then acquire what you don't have before, just off of what your used gear has brought in. So it makes it pretty seamless.
I did that when I switched from Nikon to Sony. It was so easy. Like, I'd been dreading it, and they made it so simple. It was so good.
So I'm giving them a little plug.
So those of you who want pro photo gear, that just a bunch of it just got dumped off at Robert's Camera.
A bunch of B1s.
Well, to be fair, they have great used prices on that pro photo gear too. If you're thinking about wanting to upgrade to that stuff eventually someday, and you have the means to do it, like, that's the way to go. Buy used for that.
What was the wattage on the B1s? Is it 400 watts as well?
They're 5.
Okay, so you all Westcott now.
Yeah. So all Westcott, and then I'll have Canon and some Sony stuff as well, and then kind of figuring out where I'm going to go from here after getting. I've got the R5 and then the new A9 III, which I heard y'all talking about last week, and the syncing the shutter with the strobes and all that in my video it melted my brain, I think, filming that video.
Really?
I thought you did so good with it, though. It explained it so perfectly in layman's terms, too. And you show it. It's so easy to understand when you show it like that. Because everybody talks about that in the forums and how, you still probably need an ND filter because, you lose the power when you're trying to sync fast. But you don't. You just have to change that frequency. And it's incredible.
Yeah, you just have to dial it in. They have what do they call it? The flash timing setting right there in the menu. And you dial in from 0 to 1,000, I think, microseconds, and which is crazy in itself. But then that varies. So that number you dial into will be dependent on the shutter speed of the camera, the power of the strobe. So you're working multiple powers on multiple strobes. Then the faster you go, the closer you need to get the power on the strobes, and you have to start moving placement where your lights are. To kind of compensate, or you're just gonna have to drop down to a couple lights, probably I'm talking about when you get to 80,000th of a second.
Yeah, but once you're there though too, and you have your settings set up for like the stuff for volume stuff, or even like if you're on a gig and you need it, once your settings are set, you're not really changing those anyway. So
right,
yeah.
But it
gets tougher the faster you go.
How much outside though? If you had clouds or
it looks to me like once you're set, you're set. I mean, you'd change the ambient with your shutter speed still. It wouldn't matter, right? You'd still set your shutter. You'd roll your shutter back and forth. But I suppose, how many clicks do you have to before? What were you on? Like, what power level setting were you at, or when did you have to move it the first time?
It's probably like 12/50th of a second, 1/1250th.
I mean, that alone will get you dark.
Then I think like a 1400, 1500th of a second. It was I was losing the lower. So the lower the power on the strobe, the shorter the light burst is. The full power, it's a big arc. So when you start moving, it's like playing Battleship in a way, where you're trying to hit in this little area of that shutter, which you can move in the camera. But the faster it goes, the tighter that window is. So when you get in, over, I guess it's 1500 hundredths of a second, you're losing the smaller ones unless you move that dial around inside the camera, the adjustment. So
so I think that still might be an issue for me going, like, because we have a lot of weeknight shoots, and the weeknight shoots we start at full daylight, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then it goes to dark. So we're having to change constantly, because then once it,
are you changing the power on the strobe?
Yeah, we do everything we can. We change power on the strobe.
If you're slowing, if you can run a slower shutter speed, then that's going to make it a lot easier, because then you're widening up those brackets. You watch the video.
Yeah, we do.
Sony, they have like red lines which represent the shutter speed, and so the slower you are, the wider it is, the easier it is to catch all your strobes in there. The faster, the tighter it goes. So if it starts getting dark out there, you just open up the shutter down, and you'll be golden.
That's great. That is good, because that'll make it a lot easier. Because right now, it's basically we have to raise our ISO, we have to slow the shutter speed down, take the filters off. Like, there's a number of steps we have to go to. But it's funny because when I first started doing that shoot with the ND filters at night, then I was getting this crazy shadow underneath the bill of the cap. And what was happening is I was slowing my shutter speed down so much that the lights from the park were actually creating that shadow.
Wow.
The ambient was actually creating a weird shadow, and I was getting that lighting. It's fine with softball if girls aren't wearing hats, but once you have that baseball hat on, it creates that shadow. Football, I can do it. There's no helmet.
I would think that give you a little bit of a color cast too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it does. And it looks a little weird. You're like, what? But it took me a while to figure it out. I was like, what is going on? What is
why are they bluish or either reddish? I guess it depends on the color temperature of the light that's out there.
Yeah. So you have to be careful with that. And that happens a lot for us because we shoot a lot during the week, and you get great shots right there at sunset. So we try to, keep that sunset going for as long as possible for as many teams as possible. And then it gets to the point where you have to just go all black because you're getting those crazy colors coming in.
Well, it'd be fun to kind of mess around with, because it could be a thing just with that camera where you can just adjust that shutter, slow that shutter down, obviously to a point, and then you could raise the ISO a little bit and kind of, keep your exposure, where you need it. And it might save you from obviously the NDs you wouldn't need to start with.
Yes.
And so that something to kind of, and then, I'm hoping eventually there's going to be another generation of strobes that comes out that, as these other cameras start getting these global shutters in them, that there's going to have to be some communication between the camera and the lights based off your shutter speed and the power that your strobe is on. So then it can maybe line itself up to, your shutter. And so then we're not dealing with these, I call it an issue, but we're not dealing with having this manual side of things at the moment. So it's the new frontier. It's crazy to just look at, a thousandth of a second shutter with no high speed sync or anything like that. And then there's no curtain and your frame. And I show it in that video, but that to me, just, when you're used to 200th of a second, it's pretty wild to not be catching any darkness, not losing any of that frame. It's just there.
Yeah, I guess that's the possibility. I don't have I haven't been doing this as long as you have, but just the fact that I remember how much I was wishing I could just control lights from my camera and not have to get up and adjust the power settings. You know what I'm saying? So like the
now
fact
we
that
have
we can do that now, it's no problem. So surely that's going to be like a piece of technology is going to be coming out in the next few years.
And I know, I talked to with the guys at Westcott, they put out a chart that lists the best dial-in number per your power on the FJ400. So they did some tests out at Westcott, and I know they're working on firmware. I don't know if it's possible or not, but I know they're trying to work on some firmware to kind of do exactly what we're talking about. I'm tempted to say I'd be surprised if it would work with the lights that are out right now, just because of, how they work. And, who knows, it might be a generation of LED lights or something coming up that are powerful enough to, and quick enough to where they just hit right in that marker.
Well, that's the thing. You don't need the power anymore. You just need the quickness.
The quickness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. The deeper you dive on it, the more it makes your head swim.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of variables there.
Let's see here. Global shutters affect sync speeds. Can you speak to that?
That's what we were just talking about. Like that, you'll be able to control ambient in any environment with flash without any filters or anything else. Like that's incredible.
The sensor reads all at one time, so it's instant. And that's what you mean by global. There's no rolling shutter. There's no where the sensor reads from top to bottom and you're catching darkness because it's not catching, it's not reading quick enough. This whole thing reads at once. And it's, that this A93 too, I think to make it happen, that's why they have the smaller, resolution sensor size at 25 megapixels, which really isn't all that small. It's fine for doing digital and print and small print, stuff like that. And then the base ISO is 250, but then probably the real kicker is the camera's $6,000. So
yeah. So when I
think it's good. I think that's a good thing. I hate how cheap they are.
It's going to come down into the other cameras. It's just the first one. It's the first one out there.
Yeah.
Probably who knows what Sony has cooking, but I would think, I don't know if it'd be the A9 or the A1, 2, or 3. You get a 50 megapixel sensor that's global shutter, and You know, that's when, and then you have base ISO at 100, and that's kind of where, and you're not losing any kind of dynamic range on that sensor. It's going to be coming.
Yeah, I
Probably
mean,
soon.
it's confusing, and so I know y'all just saw this comment hurting my brain. Yeah, it's Facebook users. So me too. So it's like, I don't think the average consumer that got to buy that camera, they're
It's
going to
good
be worried
stuff,
about
though.
global
At the end of the
shutter.
day, it's good stuff.
Well, it's good for video too. It's not just pictures. It's good for, it's good for wedding photographers. It's just good for so many things. Like, I don't know how many times you've been to an event shooting and you get different types of lights, right? So you'll get those, you get that frequency that's wrong, or the hertz out of the TVs, right? When it won't show them all because the shutter doesn't, all the flickering and all that goes away. It's just gone with the global.
So, and then when you're shooting video, if you go to pan, like at a wedding ceremony or stuff like that, and instead of getting those jello kind of lines that are off as you pan around, I mean, everything stays straight because that shutter is reading all at one time. So, and it's been in video cameras. I mean, all these, the movies and stuff that you watch, they all have, they're shooting these Aries and Reds and stuff that have global shutter. And that's why you're not getting sideways lines when the camera moves back and forth, and they give you that jello.
But what is that price point? Usually $40,000 to get into that,
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, it's $6,000 into that A93. We're getting a taste of that technology. So, but I just heard y'all talking about it on your last podcast, and so
it's exciting.
No, I think it's a big deal.
Another chapter.
It's a big deal. Yeah, that's the next big thing. I think high speed sync was the last thing that really was a big deal, I think, and so this is just the next step to it.
Yeah, well,
it's crazy.
Taking that out of the equation and taking NDs out of the equation. So,
which I don't like either one. You always have some caveat with it. It's not perfect, right?
Yep. 100%.
NDs, you got color casts, might be a little soft too on the 2.8 if you're trying to shoot wide open. And then if you got high speed sync, you get weird artifacts sometimes because it's not a global shutter. And so, I mean, I'd get home and I'd have these weird lines running across my image when you'd pixel peep it. Nobody would notice it, but it really bothered me. And I knew it was because of the settings in high speed sync doing it. It's the only time I ever got it.
And you being the perfectionist.
Perfectionist, it bugs me.
The thing about it is there's other things that happen that cause problems, like in the real world. You can read the books all you want, but we had a photo shoot this weekend where one of my photographers, the ND filter was stuck on the camera because it got threaded wrong going on the camera.
Oh, wow.
So it got dark and he couldn't get the ND filter off. Yeah, and so that's a problem. Because you can't see anything. It was just like it was a huge issue. So you don't think about those things.
Can't see anything.
You just like, and it's so funny because when you have a line of people waiting, you can't get things right because you're stressed and and so when he got back to the office, it just took me a couple minutes, to turn it, to get it unstuck. But when people are waiting for you and you're stressed out, it's really hard to do. So there's just, that's another factor that you don't have to worry about.
Right.
I know it's, sounds crazy, but it happens.
Or like when your friend does it to your trigger and has the same channel and changes the settings on you when you're shooting in front of a group of people. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that to him. When we did a class in Astoria, he was trying to time himself, and, he was strobing everything, and I had a transmitter in the back. And so I was firing it. Oh yeah. He had no idea. It was
evil. I owe him. I still owe him.
Yeah,
I'll get him.
That was a good one. Okay. All right. So now I think we can fit. We've been in 20 minutes. Now I want to see the stuff. I want to see the new stuff. Can you show us secrets?
Yeah, I can share. So we've been. This is the new thing.
The new thing.
Wow,
this is actually one of the original prototypes.
Nobody could make that.
Exactly. Well, they go through renditions. I won't bore you with all that. But so we got little we're going to call mini mods, and they're coming out April 1st. We got 3 different sizes.
Okay.
Here. So it's a 5-inch, which will go right on these. This is the FJ400. That the piece that goes right on front of the reflector, comes right on the light. You can put this on the 8400, 8600 too. That'll work.
Okay, so but if you're a Godox user, that works fine because it's a Bowen's,
Bowen's,
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But we're selling Westcott here.
But well, I mean, these work for other brands. And then like your 7-inch reflector, like this came off the Godox light I have over here. And then this one will go on this same type way. It's got elastic, and so they just go right over the edges of this reflector here, just like this one here.
How many stops do you think you're losing through that when you go to?
It's just basically putting diffusion on, but you're not losing many.
Like
stops.
One stop, maybe. Yeah,
maybe. And then the cool thing like we did when we've been testing them is putting gels on the lights and then putting these over the gels. And so you can get just like some instant stage looking lights that are really neat and easy to do. And then these work really nice too with the other mods. So I mean, you saw me just pop this on, it's ready to go. Just put that on your light. And good to rock. And then this one would go with the 11-inch. These go with the deep throw, the bigger reflectors that people like to use. Stuff like that. So,
it's awesome.
Can you show those pictures, Jay, I sent you earlier?
I got them on my phone. I pulled up Westcott up here. So
they won't be on Westcott just yet. They won't be on there until, so y'all getting there. Well, those are the 36 inch. So these will be smaller.
I'm gonna pull those up in a second. Give me a second, but you can still talk about like it looks like you put some gels in there, and those are the Manny Ortiz beauty dishes, correct?
Yeah, those are and those operates very similarly. Those go over the 36-inch octaboxes, or not octaboxes, but just that one's the beauty dish, 36-inch beauty dish. But here's, I don't know if you can see that, but that's with the 11-inch and the 7-inch with gels.
I'm pulling it up,
and
I'm pulling up so everybody can see it.
And then the cover image that you used for the thumbnail, it had, I think those might be the 5-inch with the 2x3 mods, using them at the same time, which is fun. Just if you have the lights, it's easy to pop these on and put them into your set and create different looks.
Yeah, I love it.
That's what I'm excited about.
You could put them different places behind your subject. You could have them just scattered. Would look really cool.
And so back in when we were kind of finishing up getting them together back in September, I flew out to Texas and worked with Eli Infante, and that some of these pictures of Jay can get them up. That'll be stuff that we did for the packaging. So when the packaging, which I think I should get some of the boxes is supposed to be here, I think on Friday, just for me to have in house. There you go. So that's what they look like there. You can make them look like, something with sports or like a stage type setup like we did here. And I just think it just opens up avenues of creativity. You use them different ways. And so we got blue gels and red gels in those.
Yeah, let me pull up another one. Well, what's cool about that is like you can just get really creative and it can work with anything. I'm getting ready to pull up the one that has a dancer in it, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and so and the other one, I think maybe the one you're about to show. I mean, we showed the stands in it. It was kind of a urban, kind of gritty type look that we were going for, and just made use of those lights with some gels in them. And I mean, we had a lot of fun, and it was fun to kind of show them because this is the first time they saw them, and kind of get their reactions on set. And then once again, when these pop over on your computer, I mean, this is pretty much straight out of the camera. Anyone you're working with on set just thinks they're the coolest things. And then for video too, these things work great for video.
Y'all keep talking. I'm trying. I'm not doing a good job here.
At least you got one of them up.
Yeah, I got one. That one looks fantastic. I'm trying to.
Yeah, so April 1st they should be out. They'll be called mini mods, and they should hopefully be with the retailers and then straight off of Westcott.
Yeah, they almost look like flowers in that kind of, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
they can be edgy or soft. Like you could use them. I could see that. I'm doing a maternity shoot here next week because I shoot a lot of different stuff, even though I'm not supposed to apparently. But I could
shoot it. You can shoot it, just don't put it all in the same portfolio.
Right, it's got to be different websites
or a different page, different section at least.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I did. I watched your Brad Deal interview, and it was great, and I loved it. And you guys said some pretty amazing stuff. I love,
Well, I
I
thought that
love,
was cool that he had picked that up, I guess, from my channel, my YouTube channel, about because he was apparently at the time showing all kinds of different stuff, and he dialed it into just sports, and you see what's happened now.
right. He just took off. I think that his story is definitely unique, and that his growth wasn't. It's not unheard of, but it's not a common thing either. Like, there's a
Right.
lot of people that
No.
have a similar story to his, it sounds like, and if for some reason or another you just never gain that traction, and so the momentum doesn't keep carrying some people, but that doesn't mean you should stop doing what you do, even if you love it. But yeah,
Right.
his story is pretty incredible. It's cool.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy too. So it's
Yeah, he sounds super genuine. Really cool.
and happy to share. And then I think what he and Jason are doing with their workshops and all. I mean, they're out there sharing exactly what they're doing, and then they keep doing it on the side, obviously, not on the side, but they're doing their workshops on the side, and then just cranking out the work. What's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah, they got a bunch of workshops. Obviously, those workshops are going well because they got a bunch of them.
Well, and Rocktown's making the videos, and selling those for people now too. So that's
Right.
cool. I was trying to get Jay to do that, but we just never got around to doing it. So
Yeah.
good on them for follow through. But yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
it's a good thing they're doing. They're helping a lot of people. It's cool.
Well, this is the other one, the dance one here.
Yeah, so that's just kind of a different type setup, different use of the lights, spread them out. And it's just I'm looking forward to seeing what people do with these, because they're so easy to use, and you can just use them as you're kind of flex your creativity with it, and move them around, use them in different setups, stack them, spread them out like we did here, and just kind of do whatever it is that is kind of coming to the set. I think maybe you even kind of stagger them a little bit would kind of be neat. A good place to look for some of this inspiration are like sets, like if you watch any of these live performances on TV and stuff like that, and just kind of seeing how they set the lights. And you'll see it once you see these. I mean, these represent kind of those LED stage lights that you'll see that kind of move around sometimes, and have that kind of pattern to them. And then you're usually shooting different colors and stuff like that. So
you see it on interviews
cool
too
concerts.
a lot. Yeah, you'll see it in cool interviews when they got a good grip. Their lighting crew, you can tell, because they got cool stuff like that in the background and stuff.
Yeah. So it's and any of those, I mean, I know those singing shows aren't for everybody, but like when they get, I guess, further along, but they build out these sets and stuff, and that's what I watch them for. A lot of times I'll watch and see kind of what they're putting up, behind the talent, and you'll see some, when they get toward the end, and usually only like the finale shows and all, they'll have all kinds of ornate lighting going on behind the talent, and it's just good. I'll take pictures of the TV and use those to kind of file them away for potentially future setups, behind whatever I'm photographing. So that's kind of,
it's incredible. Like, I watched some old Pink Floyd concerts, and it's unbelievable what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, and those are older shows. And the lighting is everything.
That's a different kind of lighting though, Jay.
Yeah, but it's still cool.
That's when you're out in the yard picking the mushrooms, and you go in and
this is true,
and watch this. So I mean, like this type of stuff. This is just like, I think this is like America's Got Talent and all.
Yeah, that is true.
Which
now,
I might pull something like this actually for my next football shoot. Just really kind of neat stuff. And so yeah, these are all screen grabs. They're so right off the TV.
And these speak on the lights. I don't mind the light stands, but people freak out about the light stands being in the photos.
You can do either way. So I mean, there's one showing the light stands. We had those are like chrome light stands. We put them in there on purpose, and then the other one we covered them up just for that same factor. Some people are really anti light stands, and then some people, like, if you go to if you look at these stage setups, you see the stands 9 times out of 10 just because they're so hefty holding these lights. So to me, that kind of represents, where, these come from. But then you can do them like this, just kind of where they're there. And that could, kind of be like your light in the distance or something like that, if you're, setting up a stadium light or something like that. So yeah,
I like
either way.
Look too.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of fun with them. And I
Can
think
you
a
tell
lot
me
of it
about
comes
how
down
much
to how
space?
you're framing, if you're shooting horizontal or or vertical, that type of thing.
Yeah. How much space did you have there? Would you? I know it's hard to remember, but between the subject and the lights there.
It was probably 6 feet, maybe
Okay.
5-6 feet.
All right. Yeah, the colors
And
are
I
awesome too.
atmosphere is all.
And those are the little 7-inch reflectors, and there's gels made for those reflectors, or they go on top of the.
Those
the
were actually
FJ400s?
the flexi gels, the Westcott flexi gels that go right on the FJ400 bulbs, the little rubber
Okay.
reflectors. I mean, a little rubber.
That is a
gel.
good system overall, probably, then to have those and that, like, so quick and easy. Like, you're going to use them more often when it's easy.
Yeah. And some of the colors, I will
Yes.
say, on those flexis, some of the colors are better than others. These colors work pretty well. And you don't have as much control as if you got like the Roscoe, old school gel filters, which you could easily tape it over the reflector here and then just pull this over it and it would do the same type thing.
The red's tough. Red turns pink if you're not careful all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but the purples and the pinks, I think they really look nice, and those
They look cool.
do a good job, and they're super easy to manage.
Okay, so these are the gels we're talking about right here, right?
Yeah,
look
those
how
rubber
quick and
ones
easy
right
that
there.
is.
Yeah, just pop those on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then they have those
Don't have to
other
worry about those
volumetric gels.
overheating.
No, they've got holes in they're engineered to avoid all that. You can see their little holes there that allow airflow.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
So
yeah,
the SPAC show, I had them on the lights in the SPAC show, if you remember that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Okay. All
well,
right.
now with the global shutter 400 is plenty of power, so we can move over, Jay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I know. I was going to tell him, I was like, okay, if I'm going to mess with this camera, I'm going to borrow James' camera for a little bit because I don't want to spend 10 grand just on hoping that it'll work out for me. It's going to be 10 grand by the time you get the lens. It's going to be what, 3 grand, 7,200, 2.8.
Yeah.
And then the camera.
But then if you're going Sony though, then you open up where you can get like a Sigma or something like that, which would be half that cost. You can't do that with the Canon right now, unless you go back to the EF mount.
Buy the G Master. It's awesome.
That's
Sony
with the trading in all that gear. I've got 3 of those lenses coming my way.
They're so light and amazing. Oh, they're good.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's another thing. Like it's really cool that Westcott has so many accessories, and I feel like they'll make changes and they pay attention to our volume photography world way more than I feel like Godox would. Because
Westcott is good about that. They just pay attention to photographers' needs and they go after those solutions, which is pretty cool. Not a lot of outfits do that. And listen like they do.
And they got some other tools coming that will be helpful too. I can't really speak on them just yet, but some neat stuff is coming down the line.
Yeah, more powerful light.
I can't speak on that.
You don't need it now. The global, you just don't need it.
Yeah.
So think of it. Like everyone's crying about the money, but you save so much on lighting now. I mean, I don't know. I don't think the body should be available to the masses. I mean, I get it that you want it to be, but keep it expensive. It devalues what we're doing. I don't like it.
Yeah, but I just don't think people who have like regular jobs are going to really dive that deep into the camera.
That's what Justin's talking
really
about.
Yeah, but they do. That's I don't want them to. I mean, I do, but I don't because I did it.
The doctor, when he gets out of the OR, he goes and buys the new A93.
Every time. I mean, I remember when I couldn't find a D700. I wanted a backup D700, and they were sold out because I had 2 D3Ss and a D700, but I wanted a backup for that one. And a local person had a D700 that they never used, and I couldn't find one used. They were gone. They were hard to get for a while, and he just wouldn't part ways with it. So like, there's people that do that. They'll just buy them to have them. So, but make it so you can't get to them as easy, and then it helps protect us a little bit.
And then Jay's got to get 10 of them.
Yeah,
know,
I don't feel bad for him though. I know his volume.
Yeah. The well, I was it was funny because we've had a lot of good news around here, and so about my exchange students. We had one that got the college scholarship, a junior college. We were worried about him getting the offer. He's a really good player, but he's 5'9". So there's a bunch of 5'9" point guards out there, so it's hard. So he got a scholarship, real excited. Then we have Juan, who's 7'1", and he got an offer the other day that's just like the most amazing thing ever. It's very unconventional. It's not a college scholarship. We're just like finishing up the details before we can really announce it, but it's going to be amazing for him. It's like the best case scenario, and I'm so excited. And I'm thinking about it all day, and I'm calling people in Brazil, and I'm just like trying to get everything together and everybody on the same page, and how do we move forward, this sort of thing. And Jesse is a business. I have a little basketball gym, and Jesse is my business partner, and so I was calling her to tell her the news, and I couldn't reach her, and I had to do a preschool shoot, which already frazzles me, right? I'm with 2-year-olds all day, and I'm just like, and I had to shoot. It was, I guess it was last night. I had a shoot to go to, so I was just had a million things on my mind, and I pull up to the gas station, and Jesse calls me, and I pick up the phone. I'm telling her all the news about the basketball thing, and I just brought a brand new Sprinter. And I'm super excited about my Sprinter. I got a ramp installed in it. Like, everything's going great. And then my dumb ass puts regular gas in my diesel Sprinter.
Oh.
Is that what you wouldn't tell me you did the other day?
Yes. I was embarrassed.
You should be.
How long did it take for you to figure out that something was...
Oh my God.
It doesn't take long. You won't make it very far down.
It's like it starts like sputtering. I was like, what is going on? I was like, oh, I did not do. And I waited for the diesel pump. That's the bad thing. It's like I sat there and I waited for the diesel pump. Let's go. And I get there, I get the phone call, and I grabbed the unleaded it and put it in there. I was like, oh my God. And then I probably went like a mile, and I knew that what I had done. And so, yeah, I had to pull over, and I had to get it towed, because you're not supposed to, you're supposed to just let it. So
right,
that was an expense. I got it back today. Mercedes-Benz, like their customer service was unbelievable. I have never had a Mercedes, so I haven't experienced that before. So
probably unbelievable when you look at your bank account afterwards too.
Yeah, that was a little rough.
You'll probably do that again. That's probably not the only time that will happen.
I had a diesel car for 10 years. I had a little Volkswagen TDI that had like 300,000 miles on it. I never did it. And somehow or another, my dumb ass
got a lot of things going on.
Yeah,
You're too busy.
Yeah, I just warned everybody. I was like, everybody, I go through these like little things when we get in the busy season where I do stuff. Then I knocked over a 80-1200 today, broke the bulb, and yeah. So it's I got to be careful right now. I just need to be like, I need to just go to a safe room someplace and just sit there until I get out of my
padded room in the house.
Oh my gosh. Just, you just can't feel like in life, you just can't get too happy. As soon as you get too happy, someone's going to come and slap you in the face. That's what I felt like yesterday.
Your wake up call.
There's a new decent What are you sipping on, Quantzy? What whiskey is that?
Oh, it's not whiskey. It's just a local microbrew beer.
Oh, well, let me join you.
Oh, there we go.
You don't get that at the Chili's.
No, when I'm sitting there like a boss.
Yeah. I have to send you this. This is the best IPA beer in the world. Free.
Does it have weed in it?
No, but it should.
Do you have some beer out there that has
oh God, yes. We have everything. Really? We have anything you want. We're like the Wild West of drugs out here.
I know. Are they repealing that though?
Just in local places, which they should. You shouldn't be able to use drugs in front of children anywhere.
Right.
Like, so they're going to make it so that you can't do it in public places, I think, which is what it should be.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So
how good are friends of those?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the Bible Belt will accept it yet. So,
oh goodness. Yeah, that's crazy. What is the name of the beer that you're drinking though, James?
It's called Columbia Craft.
Oh, okay.
I'll go.
James in Columbia, South Carolina.
I almost need another one. I'll go get a can.
Yeah, get one.
Yeah, I'm not drinking for Lent, so I can't even partake with you guys.
Me either.
What are you shooting this week, Justin?
Let me look. I don't know. I want Quantz part of this because it'll make him think I'm not a professional.
Yeah, so what is that?
I'll give the whole story for that. But
that's nice.
Yeah, a little lager. Nice.
Yeah.
What am I shooting this
the loggers
week?
and stuff? I can't really do all the IPAs and all. They wake me up at 3 a.m. with a headache.
Yeah, that's why I love this one. It doesn't overdo it.
Back up and tell the story though, Justin. You're saying that James criticized you during.
I felt like he was talking directly to me in his YouTube channel. That's how important I think I am.
Okay,
right.
Gotcha.
I think
in my head, you were in my head, Justin.
When you were saying that,
yeah, I should have said he will remain nameless, but
don't ever just name me. I'd rather you just name me when you're talking about me. I don't ever do it behind my back. I love it when they're straight to my face. But really, no, you'd said some things that are super important for people to hear, and I've heard this my whole career, which has not been as long and luxurious as your guys' is probably, but they say you have to find your niche and you need to stick with that. And I think that is a good mantra. And I think that a lot of people can follow that and get really good at their craft. Some people, unfortunately, don't have that luxury, I think is what it is, to start off in a career shooting just one thing. So you have to shoot a lot of things, figure out what you love the most to shoot. What you love to shoot might not necessarily be the most lucrative part of your photography, unfortunately. And so you will venture around and try to find a different niche, trying to figure out how to make a living to buy the next $6,000 body because you want it. And in my area, I feel like I didn't want to travel as much. I was raising kids, so I had to learn to dabble in a little bit of everything. I learned the mechanics of photography. I learned lighting, and I learned about people. I'm still doing all of those things every single day, but I would love to just stick in one genre and do that and only do that. But I feel like I would get bored too, but that's just my personality, I think. And so what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for other people. And also, depending on the time of your life, where you're at and what you're doing doesn't always affect that either. But everybody's path to being a professional is different in anything, not just photography. So you just have to trust whatever process is thrown at you. And I think what I learned to do was, I got sick of swimming upstream. It would make me tired. I'd get exhausted. I would do stuff like Jay did and put diesel in a gas car. And anytime I do stuff like that, it's because I'm swimming upstream. And so and when I sailed a lot, you when you have a sailboat, you can't sail against the wind and against the stream and against the hazards. You have to go with the flow. And that's what's helped me the most probably in my business. And I do shoot a lot of different things. And I think what I got out of that when James was talking about that was, don't show the world everything. Go ahead and shoot it. But like, if there's certain things that you're probably making money in, stick to that and make sure that that's the top of your craft for the time. I think it's what I took from that. But
yeah. That's it. And that's where, like, if you go to any of these top photographers that are working for, say, like your Nikes and, your big brands and stuff, and you find who that photographer is, and you go to that website, and that work is their whole website will be representative of that work. I mean, it'll be different people and stuff like that, but you'll get a sense of what they're providing their client. And, if you throw in a landscape that's not in close to the same style, and baby picture, a maternity picture, all this kind of crazy stuff that you enjoy doing, and you pile it all together and put it in front of somebody, they're just not going to know. It just confuses people. And then, and I said in the video, I had that, I was confronted with that same type thing, just because, I enjoy using the camera and photographing a lot of different things. And when I first started, I was putting them all in, like my best shots of all different type of stuff in one portfolio. Right. And I would go and show that. And then this art buyer from, an agency in New York, they would look at that and be like, well, what am I supposed to hire you for? You've got all kinds of stuff in here, but it's not all, I don't see enough of one thing that would convince me to bring you in on a campaign that, a company is going to be spending hundreds of thousands, or, not even that much, but they don't you just don't make a good impression when you're showing a bunch of different stuff. So like you're saying, if you're just getting started out there and you're shooting a lot of different stuff, you find you're liking a certain style of stuff, and you might not be making money off of that just yet. That's where you crank out the work that's making you money, but then on the weekends, your spare time, you build that portfolio. And that's what, I mean, I was doing, around 2000 and stuff. I was going to people's homes and photographing two-year-old kids, 1-year-old kids, and then forming those composites and then selling the printed composites. And then, the next day I'm with an athlete somewhere doing something, to try to get in the door of the sports stuff. So, I mean, I was living what you're talking about. I was doing stuff that I didn't enjoy necessarily doing. I was still using the camera, but then I was taking my own time and building portfolio of work that I was hoping was going to get me work doing with, what I like to do, and not sitting in some person's living room with a bunch of screaming kids. Feather on the stick, all kinds of stuff.
Done that. Shaking your own keys, trying to get them to look at you.
But then, and still saying that, like last week, or maybe it's been the week before. So there's a esthetician place next door, and the lady came over, and she's got a granddaughter who's one of the beauty pageant type in that circuit. And they hired some other photographer who was really hard to deal with, and totally retouched their daughter, where she was like, I don't even recognize her. There's so much retouching going on. I mean, she was plastic, and I just was like, oh my God, is this what people are doing? And so I was like, okay, well, sure. She was like, can you please help us out? We need, it was like a tight deadline. They had something they had to send in before some pageant. And so I was like, I'm just going to tell you, I'm not going to do anything that looks anything like that. And, it'll be much more natural. And then we can go from there. If you like it, you like it. That type of thing. So, like the next day, she brought her daughter in here, and it's not. And so, that stuff is never going to be on my website, any of that kind of thing. And it's, they were super happy with them. And she was like, all my friends are asking. I was like, that's between what we had.
You're like, I already went down that road 20 years ago. I don't want to start that over.
Exactly. I felt like I was, but it's just kind of neat to kind of have those skills that you pick up doing things along the way, and you can help people out, or you can earn. I mean, if I wanted to, I could do a little side business of that type of stuff, which would never be on my website or social media, any of that kind of thing. So it's not who I want. That's not what I'm representing myself as doing. But you can, like, if you don't have to set up like different websites. You can set up dedicated pages, but then that's still a little bit iffy depending on who you're trying to market toward.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, mine gets messy, like it does, and luckily my local clientele knows exactly that I'll do anything for money. Probably is really what the thing is. It has to do with photography, right? But I love just being a part of the community too. I really do, and so that helps me get away with it too, I think. But I think that it's a hard thing to get out of and get to that next stage. And if you're gonna be a professional in a certain field, doesn't mean you're not a professional photographer. It just means that's not your genre. That's not what you excel in yet, but maybe it is someday. So I love that you said that you still do other things, though. It keeps you on the same planet as the rest of us. That the neighbors' kids' pictures, when they need it. Like, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and a friend of mine's got 2 seniors, and they needed some senior portraits and stuff. So we rolled them in here, did some portraits and that type of thing. And I mean, it's just, I do that stuff on the side a good bit, but it's not something that you're going to see on my Instagram or on my website and that type of thing. So
because it would confuse your clients you do have, and that makes sense.
Exactly. So that's keep the message kind of simple and dialed in for the people that you want to work for. And if your work's good enough, then people are going to find you. And I think the more important thing that came out of this, which I know Jay is kind of making use of it, or been using it, making use of it for a while, is just showing the behind the scenes from, your photo shoots and, what goes into them, and then the result on the camera, and kind of gives a little bit of your personality. And, and that kind of shows it kind of cracks the door open to where people can see what, Jay Boatwright photo shoot is like. You see that, and the kids get excited. And I just think that's a big selling tool when you have that along with the work. And so I think, and that's what Brad and Jason, those guys are doing. and they were kind of probably some of the pioneers of doing it. And that's kind of set them where they kind of launched out ahead of a lot of people by doing that and doing it in a neat way and continuing. I mean, those guys, rarely will you go on Instagram or something and not see a new reel from those guys.
Yeah, they pump out the reels, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I want to pump out enough reels to make programs interested, but I don't want to do too much because I don't want to spend so much time doing it, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I want to do the smallest amount I can to get a big effect. And it's been going good because we can't add too much. But I sat here today and Karina booked a big cheer program and she booked a big football program. And, those are things that it would have taken us years to get, feels like, when we first got started. But once you get that momentum going and you have that body of work and you have the Instagram page that people can go and look at and they can see your work, it's, the business comes to you, which is it's a fantastic position to be in. And I can just focus on sports where Justin lives in a town of 10,000. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and so he's got to diversify. I'm sure, though, if Justin really wanted to do just real estate, he could because of the price of the homes out there. But, like he said,
there's a lot of real estate photographers. That's a tough industry. There's a lot of people that do it almost exactly the same, So what sets you apart is your relationship with people. And so if you can't keep a good relationship with your clients in that field and because you're all pretty much the same, if your relationship isn't strong, you're not going to get the work, And I think that carries over into a lot of stuff.
Sure.
I just had a big meeting today. I can't really disclose what the meeting was today, but it went really good, and it's hopefully picking up another gig that I didn't think I'd ever get back, and that's all relationship driven. So I'm excited about that.
No, that's a huge part of my business is a repeat business, and that's learning to be easy to work with, and basically under promising and over delivering, and just keeping everybody happy with what you do.
Was it you that said, maybe it was one of your videos I heard this from, I'm sure you've said it, but the relationship you build with people and being consistent with them is good. But I forgot what I was going to say exactly. You said something along the lines of how to keep those ones. I can't remember now. Dang it. I lost my train of thought. I'm moving on.
Well, think about it.
It might. It is the weed.
Short-term already.
Well, what do you got any big jobs you can tell us about, James, that are coming up that are cool stuff that we can envy you for?
I mean, to be honest, not really that I can think of right off the line. So I mean, there's stuff floating out there, some stuff that I've missed on here recently. I mean, it's just ever evolving type of thing. I think one thing that's kind of tough out there is just I think higher ups and some of these companies and teams and stuff like that, they're just not as focused on the quality of work as they might have once been. And so then they're more open to just taking, paying the lowest dollar for whatever they're going to get. And they're not concerned with the quality of it. And you'll see the marketing material that comes out from that. And it's not impressive, but apparently not.
That's just crazy to me. Like, I feel like there's more people do more with photos now than ever with all the social media out there, and to think that they aren't interested in having quality images is just crazy.
Well, I think COVID kind of put a stop to a lot of what was going on out there, and then some of these companies and teams and stuff had to do what they could to get by, and they're kind of sticking with some of that because it was just as easy as they could do it. Yeah, and they got by with it, and they just. The ones that are making the decisions are more interested in the bottom line figures than they are, what the quality is that's actually going out and representing what they're doing. So
I think people have a hard time seeing quality anymore too. Like I don't know where it's getting taught or who's teaching it or what, but I think people have a hard time noticing the difference, which is wild.
Unless you put it right in front of, like this and this, an A and a B, and they're going to pick that way, but they don't get to see that. What they see is what it costs, and then something that actually just fills the frame. And
I've lost
too much, then they don't really bark at it.
I've lost lots of work on price alone and not quality. Lots, just in my fields. Yeah.
And that's,
Well,
I'm
you know
sure,
what's
like real
crazy?
estate stuff, and you got people that want to come in and undercut you and stuff like that. And then that's where relationships probably play a bigger role, just, because then they're like, well, I'm not going to do that to Justin. He's always done a great job for us and all. And, I'm not going to take this person that's offering to do it for half as much. But then if that person leaves that agency, and the next person that kind of goes in their spot doesn't know you, and then that person's like, why are we paying this guy with a beard so much money when we can have this clean shaved guy that's going to do it for half price?
Right. It's true. It's true. It depends on your brand. Like, you don't want me around your brand. I get it. Like,
Well, what's crazy is, like, if you go to some of our Facebook groups, there's actual better sports photos than you go to the Falcons or the Hawks game. And it's like, that's crazy to me. Like, there's these kids are like little league or high school athletes, and their photography is actually better than what they're seeing at the highest level. And that's crazy.
100% agree. I mean, you're cranking out better work than a lot of these, supposedly, teams, these higher, the higher you go up, it's, you go look at your stuff that you're doing, for who'd you have today?
the
preschool or something. I mean, you got these kids in preschool that are looking like total bosses, and then you see, like, Atlanta Falcons not looking like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't, but I mean, it's good for us. I mean, I think that maybe we're in a little bit of a bubble because we operate in these little Facebook groups that, I feel like, but I do feel like we're getting better and better photographers.
Your clientele, though, I think the kids are more in control then too. I mean, they see like stuff that they want, that's, resonating with them. And they're the ones that, with the Rocktown and the Brad Deals and stuff, they're seeing that and they follow them and they see all this stuff coming out. And so they're attracted to that, higher end type work. And it's their parents and stuff like that that are, forking it out for that. But then they go into a college and they lose control of that, or they go to, a pro team and, they just are told to show up, certain time, certain place, get your pictures done. And, they're not as concerned about it in that part of life. But I think, with who y'all are working with, it's, that's going to keep, that, if you got someone that's seeing, your work and then they go and some other one, some other photographer does it and it's not the same, they're not going to probably buy those. And then they're going to want to find like where you are and or make noise to like how bad that photography was compared to what they've seen online.
That does happen.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what Justin was saying, though, is like I was nervous all week because we have a football league here in our county that has it's an obscene amount of players. It was our biggest photo shoot for one day. It was our biggest shoot that we had in 2023. But we have to bid it every year, and we bid for 10 years and lost every year. We got it one time, and then we lost it. And then we finally got it last year and everything went great. It went as smooth as it could possibly go, but I had to rebid. And I was a nervous wreck because I knew we did everything right, but I know my competition is going to go out there and just reduce their packages, get a huge rebate. So I was not sure that we were going to get it back. So we got it back. Thank goodness, because I think people are finally, like, okay, enough's enough. We don't want to go. Yeah. I don't want to go down. Even if, Smacks isn't giving us as much money back, or the other companies' packages are cheaper. It's a cheap product, and we don't want it. We want the a little bit better quality. So, so that was another good thing that happened. Even though I messed up my gas tank, at least I got that big league back.
Well, that's just keeping you grounded. You're floating a little bit too high there. You need to come back down.
No, don't do it. I've been grounded.
Inflation's
with the grounding.
Inflation's going to stop eventually, Jay. It's going to stop.
Oh, I just, I don't need any more grounding. I don't need to be.
No, well, there.
I am just.
We're not all buying Mercedes vans for work either, so there's that.
Yeah, it's a work van. It's a work van.
I mean, poor Quantz. What's he driving? 94 Bronco,
no, he's
a little newer than that.
He's got like a 2025. You got the big one, right?
Oh, did you get the big one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You like it?
Yeah.
It used to be a unicorn, but now I see them all over.
Yeah, they were cool. They're cool. I like them.
Nice. Here we go. That's right. Like it's I don't know who that is, the Facebook user, but
yeah, I mean that's it right there. I mean, and like you said, you've lost leagues and stuff like that. I mean, I've I can't remember what team it was, went and worked with them, and then they didn't hire me the next year. They brought someone in for less, and then the quality was not there, and so then they brought me back the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's but now most of the clients I used to have with those teams, now they're hiring like in-house people, like the Falcons. They're all in-house now.
Right.
And so they can, instead of paying me a sum to come in for a week to do, or a couple of days to do the team, now they'll hire someone for just, fractions above that. And then they'll have them all year to do that and in-game type stuff. And it's jack of all trades. And just kind of, sometimes they do some good stuff, but I don't want to say anything too bad, but it's not,
It's not
well,
yours.
I think it's hard for those. Yeah,
James,
but I think it's hard for those guys because they get paid a certain amount, right? So
Yeah.
if they go above and beyond, then that's they're setting their bar every time they go above and beyond. They may not necessarily. I've just learned this by knowing a few of professional photographers in those worlds, and it's like, well, if they do too much, then that's the expectation. That doesn't mean they're going to get paid more.
Right. Oh,
That's
yeah.
just
Well,
their expectation.
No, and that's the thing is they're just there doing a job. It's a job they obviously enjoy doing because they like photography and all, but the incentive to, think outside the box and stuff like that might not necessarily be there where you're trying to.
That's what I was going to say. This is what I was going to
Mm-hmm.
say earlier was if you're not there to help your client, like if you're not there to solve a problem or be a problem solver for them, they're probably not going to hire you in that industry either. Like they're there, they need your pictures to make more money. And so if you can't provide that for them, then you're not helping them. That was my point. That was what I was going to say. And I think James said something like that in one of his videos.
Well, the problem solving is a huge part of the business. And that's where, you're presented with these concepts and then you got to figure out how to visually pull them off. And then I think to be memorable, then you kind of take it to the next step. And then those are all the like Zoom creative calls and stuff like that you have leading up to the shoot. And then just, being the fun person to be with on set and then, handling things afterwards and stuff like that. That's kind of where everything kind of comes full circle. But yeah, the problem solving that's kind of like the SHIT moment, when you're like, they want this and how are we going to do that? And then you got to figure out how to get it done and those types of things. So, and it's a big part of it. And then some of it, they're pitching to like 3 different photographers and they'll hear what those 3 photographers, what their process is solving that issue or coming up with something and they could go in any 3 direction based off of what they hear. So
I did that once and pitched an idea on a video shoot I was trying to get for a corporation and I gave them this killer idea and then they didn't hire me and they used my idea and hired another. I was so hot about that. So you gotta be careful about that too. You can get burned.
Well, yeah, you can. And it's part of it. There are horror stories out there because it could be where the person doing the hiring is good friends with the photographer that they just have them. You have like a favorite. They don't really have a favorite when they're doing that, and they just have to go through this process to appease their client. And you could pitch them some amazing creative, but they have no plans of using you. They're going to go use their buddy, and then when they announce when they give them the job, they can say, "Hey, this guy, we have this new idea of doing it this way," that type of thing, and then you could see your campaign that you basically gave them the creative for and someone else got paid to do it type of thing. And
they saw your creative line item and it was really expensive and they're like, we got to hear it. At least and then stole it.
That's the thing is that they basically dress you down, on some of these, creative calls.
Yeah.
Well, when I first started, it was funny because, and I haven't been at this that long. There's probably lots of people in our groups that have been doing it a lot longer than me. But when I first started, labs had territories, so if you had, GPA was our lab and they wouldn't have another photographer in my area because they would create products that were exclusive to that lab, like an ESPN magazine cover or some light up necklace or some bullshit, that they would have. And that would be the lab's product, and so when you were a volume photographer, you go to the league each year, it's like, hey, this is my new product, this is what we're selling, and it would just be that's how they would get the leagues year after year,
right
showing some tchotchke product, it had nothing to do with like the quality of photography. It's like, what new little item can we put our kid's photo on? It was crazy.
and the labs would have little territories, you know, and now it's completely flipped. Like, I mean, Justin and I are using Photo Day for our volume stuff, and, you know, Photo Day will open up to 15 other photographers on the same street if they had the opportunity, you know. So it's yeah, and it's all based on, which is good because it's just based on, yeah, it's just based on how good of a photographer you are now. Kind of.
I don't mind as long as it's apples to apples. I'll go against anybody, but when you have a competitive advantage over me that I can't get, I lose my shit. I get pissed.
Well, it's not even that. It's that if people give away so much that nobody's making money.
Right.
That's
what
gets
to the
crazy.
bottom of that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that gets crazy and gets frustrating because I'm not going to do that. That's crazy, you know.
I saw a post on Facebook today. I was thinking about it all day. Was how much to charge for digitals, right? People are worried about giving the house away for selling digitals cheaper. And I used to be on that same bandwagon, but I have to be honest, I cut mine in half last year and I make more money with digitals because I don't have the lab costs. So who am I kidding? Why would I hold that hostage to try to make more money off my prints when my lab bill's bigger? But if I sell digitals, my lab bill's nothing. I'm making way more money. My clients are happier. It's instant. It's what they want. It sucks a little bit because I want to see it printed on hanging on their wall, and I hope they do that. The unfortunate part is you don't have any control over how that print looks once you release that. That's the reality. That's where I struggle.
Yeah. Oh, you talking about if you sell it to them digitally, you don't have any, you know.
No, because they can go to Walmart, get
yeah.
pink skin out of the printer and not know it was bad and hang it, and then everybody that comes to their house sees a badly printed 40 by 60 that looks horrible because you didn't have any control over that, and you don't get any more work out of that. People think immediately, oh, that sucks. I'm not.
Yeah, you know, the thing about it is, though, the funnest thing ever to do, and I hope this tradition doesn't get lost, but it probably will, is, you know, when you go to your mom's house and she pulls out the family photo albums, you know, that's a blast. That's so much fun. And I hope that people don't stop printing photos.
Yeah.
You know, it's important because it's way more
so important.
Yeah, it's way more fun when all your kids are around and you're all looking at it together than swiping on a phone. It's just it's just not the same.
It's not even close.
Well, it's not tangible in a sense, you know, and
yeah,
hopefully the younger generation feels that when they, you know, like you said, you have photo album stuff, because we're all from that era where we could sit down and, you know, come through, you know, books of photos and stuff like that. And yeah, it's changed a lot from the swipe to the turning the page and those types of things.
I mean, I'm guilty of it. I mean, I got most of, you know, so many photos on my phone. You know, it's, you know, probably something you should go through and just get those things printed. I'm sure there's services out there. They'll just print stuff from your phone.
Well,
month if you want.
I do like every year I would do like a sum up the year type of book, like the holidays, and go on Shutter, was it Shutterstock or one of them? Not Shutterstock. Shutterfly.
The enemy.
And do their, well, I mean, any of these will, you know, just create an album, you know, a book album, and wrap that up and put it under the tree for Christmas, and then that's kind of gives you that same type of feel.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it'll be, I think that comment is that it will be up to us. And I think, you know, I do these videos for all my leagues, and I think it'd be a good thing to kind of throw in there to remind people that, you know, hey, make sure you buy some prints. Family photo albums are important. You know, just kind of educating people not to forget those things.
You should dress up as a grandma in your video and come out with the photo album and sit on the couch and say, and here we are, children.
I'm not dressing up as no woman.
Take those contacts out. Put those big Coke bottle glasses of yours on. Yeah, show them off.
Yeah.
Did you not watch the Cat Williams?
You could be Medina. You could be the Smacks Medina.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Who didn't watch drunk Cat Williams talking to
That was crazy. That was crazy. The whole thing. I don't even want to talk about it. It makes me sick. All that stuff was crazy. All right. Well, I think we're past an hour.
Anyone have any questions? Do you take questions on these things?
We should take some.
I don't know. I think a lot of people
want to
watch
sleep now.
No, I think it's a thing where they watch. You know, it just sits there on Facebook and YouTube, and people go
while they're editing. We're just in the background.
While they're editing.
Yeah, we're that white noise in the background. Yeah,
we're background music. Yeah. So it's good. But no, I think that those. I think. Somebody missed that.
Well, Beers Quantz. Yeah, you missed it. He showed you the can.
Yeah, earlier.
You have to go. Yeah.
This is now a beer show and Jay's not drinking. So
yeah, great. There we go. We're glad to be back.
we're super glad to be back.
Yeah, as much as we can get him, he's going to be here with us.
No, enjoy this. This is fun.
Yeah,
well, we like having you. We appreciate you taking the time. We know that you're a big deal. So
okay,
yeah,
when is the reflective? When are they
stories.
coming out again? The minis.
The what?
When is it coming out?
The minis are coming out on April 1st. And
yes.
they come out April 1st, I believe, and it's not a joke.
Okay.
No April Fools.
Didn't even think about that. Okay, April 1st. Y'all be ready. Those things go. I mean, why not? I mean, everybody. It's easy. It's going to be a good price point. It's just going to be so. Yeah, everybody's going to have them. I think they're going to be great.
I get asked for them almost every shoot now. That's the problem. What were we talking about? Once you do something, you can't get away from it, right? Because you up the ante, you up the bar. Like, God, people love them. When you do them right, they're amazing.
Yeah,
people love them.
Keep doing
them.
And
these are going to be easier than ever.
Keep doing them. I do.
Yeah. Post them and tag the Instagram account. Yeah, for anyone
make
out
sure
there.
you tag Pro Light Mods. Yeah, because if they're good, he shares them on his reels for you. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I had some pretty neat video ones here recently.
Yeah.
What's that? What video is good?
There were some folks that have been using them in videos recently, and then they've looked pretty neat. Yeah.
Okay.
Shooting
using constant lights.
Yeah. Someone had one up today that I shared
on your Instagram.
Yep.
Okay.
I haven't seen that one yet.
And then like the pro volleyball team there in Atlanta that sniped me to come over there and photograph in your backyard.
Yeah.
They had their video guys and they used them on their video set, which is pretty neat. So their
awesome.
pre-match hype videos got the Pro Light when they got the Pro Light
Well, that's what I was thinking honestly about using them for was the hype videos these media days want nowadays. Like those are awesome for that. Awesome.
Yeah. And then these they look pretty good. I might try to reshare that one of these recent ones on the actual account so it'll keep it up there longer.
All right. Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, I see someone just posted that they're gonna try something cool with the new ones. Yeah. Any of them that y'all put out there you're happy with that you post them, make sure just tag the @ProLightMods on Instagram.
Yeah. I guess everybody's done. They're tired of us. All right.
We got them in Australia too, apparently.
Do we got Australians in there? Down under? Aren't they supposed to be sleeping right now? Yeah. Oh, it's morning, I think. Now.
Unless it's someone underneath something.
That's all. I love the.
Maybe it's the guy at the Mercedes dealership fixing your van.
Down under his van. An awesome sports images.
I got to go put some photos on sale so I can pay for my Sprinter bill. Whew.
Australia has some incredible photographers. Does anybody know why that is? Why do they have such a? Because percentage-wise, it seems like there's a lot of great ones. Marcus Bell, Sue Bryce, they all came from. Well, Sue Bryce was New Zealand. Same.
And they have a lot of photography companies that they come like software companies that come to our shows here in the States.
Yeah, photography is a big industry there.
I was shipping mods down there.
Yeah,
were you really?
That was neat. And New Zealand. Awesome. I sent some to New Zealand too.
Amazing photographers in both those places. Amazing ones.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's try again next week. And James, you're always invited. Open invitation. So
always. Right. Who else should we have on? We should ask people who they want on.
You gotta get James Scott back.
We do.
Yes, John Scott. John Scott. I was thinking of John Scott. I wouldn't mind talking to. I would love to talk to Paul Elise. I was thinking about. Because he's doing such cool stuff. He's
got a cool great system right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Rashad, we can always bring Rashad on here. Rashad Griffin.
I miss Rashad. I haven't seen him for a year and a half, probably. His new baseball pictures he just posted were cool.
Yeah. We definitely cool Rose. We gotta have Rose Coleman on here. She's probably gonna be buying all your pro photos. So she's a big pro photo. And Brad Deal, I'm sure he'd probably come on with us if we asked him an invitation. That'd be pretty cool. So I don't know Jason, but I'm sure that Brad could do the introduction.
Yeah.
Maybe we just
that'd
have
be
them
great.
both on at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. All right, guys.
See
Y'all
someone
have a
talk.
great night. That was fun.
That was fun.
Thanks.
Always fun.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you next week sometime. Don't know yet.
Maybe.